the benefit of being in a non-monogamous space and dating. You don't have to be pressed.
Pressed at all.
And there's no expectation.
Exactly. Because you already are where you are. Because I'm dating, I'm in a non-monogamous space. I'm already in a space to make my own decisions on how I want to run this play anyway.
Sounds like a lot of situationships going on over here. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Honesty on the table. My mission is cultivate a space in which vulnerability, transparency, and humble curiosity serve as our healthy roots for individual and collective progress. Gentlemen, we are here, man. I got a bone to pick today, man.
Oh.
I got a bone to pick today. I've been having a bone. I've been having a bone about this shit.
Hey, I was born with a bone.
We the only mammals without one. We're the only mammals without one in that particular area. Hey, but anyway, we're going to get into dating, fellas, or lack thereof. But first, before we get into that mess, I got to check in and see how y'all doing. How y'all doing?
I'm doing great, brother. That's all I got to say. I'm fine. I'm ready to go. I'm ready to get into shit. Let's get the topic.
Same old thriving.
Hey, how you doing?
The usual. I'm chilling.
I say the same, man. I'm blessed. I'm here. I'm surviving. Hey, I'm here. I'm alive. So, hey, we're not surviving. We're thriving, like Porter just said. But let's just get right on into it. We don't know how to date, man. I feel like us as millennials, 1981, 1996, and then we'll leave the Gen Zers for later. We got to focus on ourselves right now.
Okay.
81 and 96 babies. We like to give ourselves a lot of positive light. We like to see ourselves in a very positive way. And we're very, very hypercritical of others. And we're hypercritical of other situations that are not beneficial to us. Or we are in a place in which we're just not plain and simple, we're not taking accountability. Plain and simple, we're not taking accountability. There you go. We got a lot of situationships out here. We're gonna break down situations. We got a lot of situationships out here. We got a lot of relationships that are, if you're in a healthy relationship, you know if you're in one. If you're in a healthy relationship, you know if you're in one. If you're not and you just bide in time, wait until summer come back around, we know who you are too. If you just buy in time, wait until that tax return hit, we know who you are too. If you just buy in time because you're just afraid to bet on yourself, we know who you are too. And then we got this thing in which a lot of the single folks out here, we're saying we dating, we getting to know one another. But are we really getting to know one another, or are we just out for ourselves? Or are we actually truly establishing the friendship necessary to get to know, and then that leads to dating and courtship, where have you? We're gonna break that down. But I got a bone to pick because we all don't know what it is. We don't have an established culture, particularly in our culture, about what dating, getting to know, and building something healthy and sustainable of a relationship leading to marriage and legacy is. We have a lot of ideas, we have ideals, we have couples that we want to get to. Whenever they hit those 40 years, 60-year milestones, we say those are goals. And they give us advice, and many of us don't really heed to that advice because it requires us to do a lot more work than we anticipated. And for that, it's disappointing, but we're gonna take accountability on that today. What is dating in 2023? What is it? We 30 now. What's dating?
The culture of dating or the right way of dating?
Let's have both. Give me the culture first. Give me the culture, then the right way.
Okay, you know what I'm saying? So like culture, you gonna pick shawty up. You see her walking down the street, skirt, pull up, you gonna bag the number, get her Instagram. Either or. So nowadays in culture, Instagram is just as important as the number.
I think more important.
For me, Instagram is more important than the number.
I want the Instagram first.
I want the Instagram first too.
The Instagram, and then I follow up and then get your numbers. Gonna be my what's the confirmation? What you call it?
What is it? Attraction confirmation.
Attraction confirmation.
Yeah.
That's the ultimate. You know what I mean? Because now I automatically put myself in the pool of the rest of these niggas that's already your DM that never met you yet. But, you know, I have a little upper advantage because I met you in person. Right. And I'm going to follow up with liking the pictures, everything like that. And if I'm that guy, if I get picked out of the at the pool. You know what I mean?
Swim.
You know what I mean? We're gonna pull up. We're gonna, get your number. We're gonna coordinate a date. First 2 days or maybe that week, we just getting to know each other. I'm learning your schedule, see when you off. This, that, and the third. Then we'll go to the date. Dating can be based on preference, but ideally, let's just say,
Is dating monogamous? Hey,
You jump.
But
I don't even know, Shorty.
Monogamous.
It's not monogamous.
that's the
Monogamous is a ownership
Yeah, it's an ownership
type of term.
Monogamous is a conversation.
Yeah, that's a
It
conversation.
needs to be had.
But if you're dating, I know that, hey, I'm dating. Like, unless we're exclusive,
That's a conversation.
But what does exclusive mean? Because you have different sectors of exclusive.
Do you achieve exclusivity while dating?
yes.
you can reach the level. You can reach the level of exclusivity while dating.
That's the goal.
And does that lead to courtship?
No, courting.
Courting is from the jump.
Courting's from the jump. Courting's from the jump.
See, now we got folks who believe that courting is separate from dating.
Okay. Well, okay. There's a difference.
Because they will highlight courting as being a little bit more narrow of focus, something that is a little more exclusive.
So courting is with intention.
Yeah, I'm about to say. That's what I'm about to say. Courting has attention.
And dating is more of exploring.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
You can call it that.
I like that.
Uh-huh.
All right.
Hey, write that down.
So we put parameters around it.
I like that.
You got it.
Okay.
We have to put parameters.
So
around it.
dating is exploring.
Right.
Yeah.
Courting
Courting.
Is with intention.
is with intention.
Right.
Yes, you narrow your focus to.
But can't you still explore while you're courting?
See, that's how a situationship is formed.
Exactly.
But a situationship
I
is
like
still a
situationship.
ship.
I like
So where is it going?
Yeah, it's part of the ship family.
A situation
It is a part of the ship family. Where's the situation going?
A situationship goes nowhere.
But it has
You
an
could
ending.
be
So
sailing
it's-
north, but then you find yourself going back in the opposite direction.
I say a true situationship has an ending.
A toxic.
Not necessarily though.
It-
Because you could have a situation where it's like, all right, look, I'm moving out here I'm doing this contract in California for a year.
Yeah.
I'm leaving California after this year.
Yeah.
But I happen to just like
True story.
really like you and fuck with you, and I might just want to not be out here just having sex with all these women. I might just want to have sex with you. So while we're in the situationship, yeah, I'm courting you or whatever. But
From that point, you're exclusively courting her.
yeah, I'm exclusively courting her, but it has an end date though. Like, and it's been communicated.
See, I think situationships is not something in which we need to engage in. Period. I think situationships are the devil. I think situationships complicate a lot of things because you have that. The situationship is the gray area between dating and relationships.
Agreed.
Situationship is really became a thing in essence of within a situationship nobody can be held accountable. Situationship is the way to avoid accountability.
It's an out.
It's a clear out.
So
Situationship is eating your cake and everyone else.
It's semi-monogamous.
I say
So
yes
like,
and no.
because you got dating where it's completely non-monogamous, right? It's non-monogamous. I'm attractive, you're attractive. We're getting to know one another. In the dating phase, that's where you actually are building the friendship. Because everybody says relationships can't thrive without a friendship. But I find it very funny to think about because if you say relationships are not going to have longevity without a friendship, then at what point do you establish the friendship?
in the beginning.
You establish it from the beginning when you're dating and getting to know
We all skip because
which we all skip.
we skip the friendship and turn it to a
So
situation.
we truly think about it. A situation is nothing but a prolonged friendship, like that getting to know each other phase.
No, not necessarily.
so?
Not necessarily. Situationships is when you both are attracted to one another, but you all have not clearly communicated where it is y'all are going. And if you have both communicated where you intend this to go, neither of you are holding each other accountable or yourselves accountable. And then also you add a little sprinkle of sex on that, you make it that much more complicated.
So I'm not gonna lie and say that I've had situationships that have backfired, but I've also had amazing situationships. Amazing, like where it's just like with situationships, it has to be. It's kind of like fucking what's that shit called? When you're openly dating, like me and my partner, open relationship, right? No. Listen to what I'm saying though. Listen to what I'm saying. No. You say no to what? I'm not saying engage in that. But what I'm saying though is that when it comes to an open relationship, right? you have to have the communication, and it has to be honesty, right? Now, granted, do people go off that track? Sure. But if it communicate, as long as everything's established, if it's like, hey, look, we're in a situationship, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, whatever this perimeter, what?
So when we talking about communication, do you think that it's always something that has to be said? Because I've been in circumstances where nothing has to be said. When a woman is into you and she's intentional about you, she's paying attention to everything that you do, how you maneuver, how you eat, when you go to work, how you operate on your day-to-day, and she naturally gravitates towards you and just fits into whatever it is that you have going on.
I agree.
Are you talking about?
So I feel like it's a double standard when it comes to communication.
Yes. Okay.
So, for your example, as the woman, she don't have to communicate that.
Yes.
But as a man, we do.
We do. I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Just check it.
And going back to Jalen's point, I think I do agree with you. The issue with situationship is the accountability part for both sides. One side, I think the biggest part is and going back to what you said, the cake and eating it too, is that we all know when the situationship is done.
Do we?
Yes.
We surely know when we're headed toward it too.
Yes.
Because like, think about it. All right, let's just start from the beginning. Let's just start from the top. All right, we're gonna have Jane and John Doe. All right, we're gonna have what's a black Jane name? Jane what? And then we're gonna have what's a black girl name?
Leah.
All right. I used to have a crush on
Might as
Leah.
well-
Rest in peace,
don't
rest in
say-
peace,
don't
Leah,
say
man.
Leah.
You know, rest in peace, Leah, man.
Oh, hey, absolutely. Hey,
So Pete, you got Jalen and Leah, right? Boom. They both know they're attracted to one another, right? They see each other, boom, they get the IGs, exchange IGs, they DM each other, boom, boom, boom. They inevitably exchange numbers. Now they're texting, FaceTiming, just getting to know, right? This is where it's very important. This is something we all talked about in conversation before, and it's also in the atmosphere, right? The man in this heterosexual space, of course, the man here has control and access to relationships and marriage. We have control of that, right? No matter what it is that the woman can do or say, we at the end of the day have to approach them and say, hey, I think this is warranted enough of my satisfaction and security for us to continue to go further and be exclusive in a relationship. Are you down or not? I have to take the knee. Will you be my wife? And so forth. So Jalen and Leah, we already got to that point. We're dating. Dating is where it's non-monogamous. I repeat, dating is non-monogamous. Me and her both know we're attracted to one another. We're getting to know one another, but we also are still free. We can still go and date and get to know others, right? And then hopefully we both have our self-respect in terms of health, meaning if we are both sexually active, we both should wrap it up, get tested, where have you, if we are. And then as time goes on and you're getting to know this person, you're building this friendship, you're taking your time. I think that is key. When you're dating, you are taking your time. A lot of us, we get very starry-eyed. We see somebody we like, we got some similarities. They God-fearing like we God-fearing. And next thing you know, we find ourselves in this.
Is it God?
Hey, we find ourselves in a place where it's like, I like what you like what I like. We both got our own industry. We both got our own moves, our own goals, ambitions. And then sometimes that's when the conversation and communication pulls back in regards to us having further conversation on whether we are both moving on the same page and we both have the same intentions going forward. Mm-hmm. As long as we do not cross that intimacy barrier beforehand, we got to communicate before we cross the intimacy barrier. But if you cross the intimacy barrier and you didn't share about how each other feel about one another and how you foresee each other's future based on what you've amassed in terms of information, hangouts, dates, where have you, text messages, you find yourself in a situationship because you both are attracted to one another. You both got similarities, both got fear, both want kids and a family and a picket fence and all that shit. Y'all crossed the intimacy barrier, but y'all have not really conversed since then in a sound way about how you both truly feel.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
For yourself and how they feel. And instead, many of us make concessions and we try to, we essentially, we compromise. We compromise in hopes that other person meets us where we are. So if I, as Jalen, if Jalen looks at Aaliyah and say, hey, I'm actually feeling her as more of a girlfriend, wife material, and Aaliyah's feeling like, I feel like he's more boyfriend, maybe husband. If we're not discussing those things and we cross the intimacy barrier and time goes on, the level of expectations and the level of aspirations for each other's future could be swayed. It could be smoke there.
Mm-hmm.
When you communicate after you cross the intimacy barrier about where y'all are going and whether y'all should take each other seriously from the dating get to know space, you find yourself in a courtship. Or hell, y'all might even speed it up. Y'all might go straight into a relationship. But if you are refusing to have, or you're scared, or you're hesitant on having that conversation once you cross that intimacy barrier, and you really like this person, or they really like you, or you don't, and they don't really care for you like that in that way, and y'all not having that conversation, you'll find yourself in a situationship where it's semi-monogamous.
Time.
Meaning one person either feels more entitled to that other person's access in time, in space, while the other person doesn't feel that way, or vice versa. But at the end of the day, we're living in a world where, shit, I like you, you like me. Shit, why don't we just go ahead and keep kicking it? Let's keep having to enjoy each other's time. And then that other person may say, okay, let's continue to kick it, even though I may feel otherwise. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut. And then as time goes on, we're gonna get challenged.
Mm-hmm. Validation is needed.
Validation is needed, security is needed, and one person or the other or both feel like they need some form of security, and one person or the other doesn't give it, and you find yourself in a prolonged situation, and it becomes toxic, and it becomes, you're going nowhere. You're just in a circle. You're just going in circles because no one is refusing to take accountability of saying, hey, this one, all right. The reason why I say all this is this. I've been in situationships where I move too fucking fast. Okay? I like you, you like me.
Yeah.
We hang out a couple of times.
We done.
That attraction, confirmation, the sexual attention is high.
Yeah.
I pop.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do I really want to be in a relationship?
Yeah.
Do I really want to be here?
Real questions.
That's the beautiful thing about situations. Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
The beautiful thing about situationships is that you can upgrade or downgrade them.
Yeah.
The thing with relationships is that you can't downgrade a relationship. If we're dating, like we're together, boyfriend, girlfriend, if we break up, bro, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. You can't downgrade it. But a situationship, it could be like, you know what? She's in another city. I'm in another city. You know what I'm saying? We link up. She happened to move in Atlanta now, right? We taking a couple trips together. You know, we've been knowing each other for a couple years now. Now she's here. Okay, let me upgrade this from where we've been at to something more serious because now the feelings have changed. But in a relationship, you can't do that. You can't be like, oh, I was fucking with you now. Now it's like, I ain't fucking with you now no more. You know what I'm saying? Like, we could be friends. That's a downgrade.
But I have a caveat.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I have a caveat to that. Situationships can and need to be avoided, period. You can date someone that you're attracted to, have an honest, mature conversation that will lead that about how non-monogamous it is, and then you could still, if you all are active, which again, this is what makes situations so delicate, is when you cross that physical barrier. You can still date somebody, be non-monogamous, have an honest, mature conversation, and still engage in sexual intercourse with them.
With them and the other people?
And the other people.
So what's the difference?
It's when folks don't talk.
So you're saying there's a level of toxicity or a level of like negativity.
There's a failure of accountability. Is a failure.
The only way you can truly be in a situationship is the lack of communication, accountability, and understanding. And also to
all that situationship or just bad communication.
It's situationships because it keeps happening. Yeah. You continue to engage with this person, continue to hang out with this person, they continue to engage with you, even though they say they should have been done with your ass. And you say I should have been done with your ass. For some reason, y'all still end up at the same.
But if we agree to date non-monogamous, then that's my friend.
But that happens in a relationship as well. You go through that same bullshit toxic circle in a actual relationship,
and that's
that you're monogamous with that person.
That's why I made the point earlier about how folks feel like they're in a healthy relationship. They know what they're in a healthy relationship, and those who know they're not in a healthy relationship, they know they're not in a healthy relationship.
So the key is the relationship. Don't really.
That
I'm pro situationship.
The key with relationships is when both parties unanimously agree to be in one.
Man.
That's the key.
The key,
regardless of whether it's toxic or healthy, both parties said we are together. You my man, you my girl. Blah blah blah. So let's make this happen. That's a relationship.
So it becomes a situation.
It's
where somebody
exclusive, monogamous.
different attention. One person.
Yes.
One party.
It's always one. All it takes is
So
one.
take one.
Okay.
No, it's 50%.
Was it, she don't see eye to eye, and he don't see eye to eye.
So in my
All they don't
situation,
see eye to eye is the
so
situation.
in my situation of like liking situations where communication is great, I'm just in a relationship. That's what we can tell.
And then 9 times out of 10, if you're pro situationship, you're the one that's always on the opposite end of not agreeing with
what the other person wants.
That's true. That's true. I would say the biggest thing with situationships, though, I would say back to my pro situationships, guys. My biggest thing with situationships, though, I will say this is back to the accountability aspect, right? Which is when I, as that person, know that I'm A and she's B, even though we discussed that I'm only doing A, and she's like, "Oh, I'll do A with you," but I'm really B for real. I have to, in the situation about, okay, I need to acknowledge that she's on this wave and she's not changing up. She can say she can lie to me all she wants to. I know what she wants, but because going back to what you were saying again, I might be, just want to, just like being the vibe around her, our sex or whatever. I'm willing to ignore it. So now I'm engaging in the toxicity of the situation. So communication is key when it comes to situations.
Exactly.
You're still pro.
Oh, yes.
But you could.
It's a situation. It's a situation.
you're toxic.
No, it's not necessarily toxic. It's a situation.
You
A situation
are
should be
dating
thriving off toxicity.
You could be dating someone again. You can be dating someone, getting to know them.
That's your definition. I don't want to hear that.
You can date someone, get to know them. They get to know you. You both are physically, mentally attracted to one another thus far, and then y'all have the honest conversation about, hey, that's how I've been doing it. Where do you stand when it comes to intimacy? Where do you stand when it comes to affection? I'm gonna let you run the play. I always tell the women, I'll let you run the play when it comes to intimacy. Why? Because if you cross that intimacy barrier first, they can always use that.
Why is that a thing?
You always can use
I learned that from Marlo.
So in order for me to feel like I have some insurance, I make sure I have a conversation first to say, hey, when it comes to having a conversation about intimacy or affection, whatever, I'll let you steer that ship. I'm attracted to you, don't get me wrong, but I also don't want to be put in a compromising position in which we cross that barrier, I initiate, and then you regret later on. You have buyer's remorse or some shit. Seller's remorse.
I have a question for that. Does that come up often? What? In your dating experience? Like that particular conversation?
I bring it up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You bring it up?
I'll bring it up.
Okay.
I'll bring it up. Because at that point, I bring it up early, relatively, like maybe first month ish, just so I can get a beat on their attention too. And they'll tell me whether they celibate or not. They'll tell me, you know what I'm saying? Based on that sex conversation generally, like intimacy conversation, they'll tell me everything they need to know. Whether they are active or not, whether they're celibate or not, whether they see that in me, because they can just like me as a person. So you're able to get a lot of that stuff out of the way by at least having a conversation about when it comes to like affection and stuff like that going forward, where it could go. And how, again, reassuring them that you are attracted to them, that you see, but right now, I just wanted to put that out there because I know myself. I say that. I'll be like, I know myself. Based on what I've done and based on how I've learned about me as a 30-year-old man, I'm going to slow walk this. Now, if you want to speed it up, that's up to you. But I ain't got time for you to put it against. I ain't got time for you to say I forced your hand.
That's the cheat code.
I ain't got time for you to sit here and say I put you in a compromised position. If we're both attractive individuals, we put ourselves in a compromised position, sitting across each other, enjoying some steak and some shrimp now. You know what I'm saying? Tension is always going to be there. But I don't want you to ever feel like, okay, I walk into your door, that you are obligated to give it to me. You're not.
So after how many dates?
Right.
You look until the
How many dates?
so you knocking on the door.
I can never say it's a set number of dates.
Never. I'm not
No, I know. No, this is the question. This is the question.
Yeah. I mean, it varies because, like, you have that kind of, again, if you have the maturity and the security in that person, and y'all have that conversation, it can get off like
tomorrow.
Yeah.
But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that if she's on the fence, like she's hasn't, she's not basically giving you the clear signs of I want to.
That's another conversation, but that's so the benefit of being in a non-monogamous space and dating. You don't have to be pressed.
At all. And there's no expectation.
Because you already are where you are. You see what I'm saying? Because I'm dating, I'm in a non-monogamous space. I'm already in a space to make my own decisions on how I want to run this play anyway.
Here, when it's with her or the next one, you choose.
Sounds like a lot of situationships going on over here.
It's not a situationship. It's not a situationship.
Oh, man.
Because if it's clearly communicated and it's exercised accordingly,
the majority of situationships are exclusive.
The only reason I have an issue with that, the way you guys are defining it, because it gives me the same thing when it comes to like masculinity, right? When people think of masculinity, the first word they think of with it, associated with it is like toxic, right? Like toxic masculinity or whatever, right? That's a big thing that's going on, like
in the outside,
right?
Yeah.
Nowadays, right? Like that's just a thing. So,
yes. To answer that question, women can do it too. Fair game.
Reason why it's not a situationship, the reason why it's not toxic, because it's fair game.
Fair game. I'm not obligating you to
and it's honesty from the jump.
I'm not obligating you to this. And as a woman, again, we already living in a world in which you got the Meg Thee Stallion, Sexy Reds. They're telling, Glorrillas, they're telling women, yo,
I got it.
You don't need this. You don't need to deal with this bullshit. Go and live your fucking life. Because a lot of the OG women ain't telling them that. So they're not championing that in terms of them being exploitive in their own way, or in terms of them being able to tell their partners how they feel in any given situation. We're now engaging in a culture in which women are being championed to speak up and speak out. And I appreciate that. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you want. Now, if you say you like me and you only want this from me, cool. But also know that you're stepping into a game that men have been playing. We had how many decades of a head start? You know what I'm saying? So what?
Have we?
Have what?
Have we had a decades of head starts like that? When it comes to seeing that? Wait, are you talking about the speaking out part?
In terms of saying what it is that you want, yes. What it is that you want, and it's being up to the woman in that space to make the decision. Some women tend to concede and allow the man to, while they still, all right, there's some women who will make the concession and still be exclusively tied to him, even though the man can vocalize and say, I am single, I'm dating, I'm living my life. And then there could be women out there who's like, you know what, I'm going to stay firm and hold it down until you get back, or hold it down and continue to build with you in the future, because I see more than where we are now. I see our future. And it's up to you as a man to make that choice of whether you're going to continue to date and keep them around, or whether you're going to move on. And I think us as men, we've had that advantage to do so. And a lot of women have felt like, you know what? I don't really like that he can go out and do his thing when I'm sitting here waiting and holding it down for him, or pulling out for him. I'm going to go out and date too. I'm going to go out and live.
And I disagree with that.
And I feel like,
I disagree with that.
I'm like, okay, cool. So, because again, this is where you get the situation. You get the situationships when they're both parties are not on the same page. One person has one view about where they want to go in their future with this person or themselves, and the other person has a view about where they want to go with their future and that person as well. And if you're not having that shared understanding and conversation about where y'all go collectively, and yet y'all are still engaging in each other, particularly in a sexual way, because that's where it gets toxic. When you add that sex in there, it gets toxic. When you don't add the sex in there, y'all are just dating. That's what I'm saying. The sex is the catalyst. Sex is the X factor in this. Don't have sex, everybody's just dating. And then in that case, the dating turns into courtship, which is exclusivity. I'm taking it more seriously with you. And then that leads to a relationship, hopefully, if the courtship phase works. But we cross a lot of intimacy barriers too soon where we don't really know the person. And then we force our hand in deciding whether we want to be with them or not. And then the other person is like, I don't know. And then it just leads to more confusion and less clarity.
So you're saying that the intimacy should occur during the courtship?
That's another one somebody. Because if you're just dating and having sex with whoever, that to me is like you said, intimacy is a problem.
To really avoid the situationship, you must not have sex intimacy until after the courtship.
That means you're telling people to be responsible.
Yeah.
But is that realistic?
They know they work.
Is that realistic in the modern day dating scene? So right, but I'm saying I agree with what you're saying. But the reality of the culture, when we talking about Atlanta, that's why we're talking about Houston. But that's why we're trying to have a conversation. And we were talking because we talk about what the STDs, the syphilis, that's running rampant right now.
Yeah.
People are out here having sex every day.
That's why we have to have a conversation of defining the differences between these and that and the risk of this and that. Because a lot of folks are saying, I'm dating you, but they really in a situationship. And some folks say, I'm really dating you. And some other person say they're in a relationship, which leads back to situationship. Or other person would say, I'm dating, and they really just fucking, they ain't getting to know nobody. They just out here.
I will deem situationships as this. All right, because you know, listen to more, listen a lot more, right? I would deem it as what you guys have been saying as the part of once you as the man realize the shit is like, like she's on get out of there. If you stay in,
both
it's
parties get out of there.
Like it's just like
say that again.
Like for example, like if I know this girl like me, right? Like if I know it's like, yo, this girl love me, for real, right? And I tell her, I can communicate that shit all day, right? Hey, listen. I'm single. I want to be single. I have love for you.
Correct.
I might even love you, but I don't want to be with you because I'm not in the space to what do you call it, court. Because I'm not in the space right now to do that. I actually might love you for real, but I'm just not there, right? If I decide to stay in just because I might like fucking her, right, or whatever, that's when I'm in a situationship. That's when it goes to. That's when it goes to the first part. That's when it goes to relationship to situationship. That's when it gets stepped.
And that's when
as long as I'm in it,
and from there you are considered.
And there I'm a toxic man.
And that's how you find.
Because the true definition of toxic is doing something that you know is wrong and you're doing it anyway.
That's the opposite of
it's harmful. It's harmful to your progress.
Yes.
Anything that's toxic is harmful to your progress. You get what I'm saying? Anything that's toxic is harmful to your progress. So if you're in a relationship, that means you find yourself in a toxic relationship where you're not each equally holding each other accountable. And y'all are avoiding the endeavor. Because it is hard to start over. It's hard going back to the streets. So folks just stay because you gotta stay for the kids. You gotta stay for the marriage. You gotta stay because of your grandma and them. You gotta stay because they got their pension coming. Or people find other reasons to stay instead of the truth, and that's why relationships are toxic. When you have reasons to stay and it is the truth and you're staying, it's helpful. But when you're finding external reasons instead of if you're not intrinsically motivated to be in a relationship and to make sure it's healthy and it's doing what it needs to be restoratively and progressively, you're in a toxic ass relationship. If you're not holding that other person accountable, that person's not holding themselves accountable, you know it, they know it, everybody else know it, but y'all there because y'all been down since high school, you're in a toxic ass relationship. It's that easy. Because it's harmful to your progress. And when you're dealing with a relationship, you're dealing with three entities. You got to manage and maintain three sustainable, healthy entities in a relationship. One, yourself. Whatever ideas you have, aspirations you have, goals, tasks, lifestyle, family, responsibilities, you have to manage and keep that at an optimal level. Then you actually have a co-independence in the relationship. You got a codependency in the relationship. You got shared space that you got to contribute to ensure that both parties are holding each other accountable. Both things that you share is maintained in a positive, healthy way. Then you have the third entity. That partner, it's themselves. You then have to watch out for your partner because, again, if you're saying a healthy relationship stems on a friendship, I actually have to look out for your best interest too. And your best interest as my partner may have And some aspects have nothing to do with me, but it has something to do with their personal growth, their aspirations, their goals, their family responsibilities. You actually have to help support and facilitate them in that area too. And then it just goes in a cycle. You help yourself, help the relationship, help them. Yourself, relationship, help them. And when you're dealing with 3 different entities, that's exhausting as hell. You're working on 3 different spaces in real time. And a lot of people don't have that kind of capacity. You know why? Because they haven't even gotten themselves together. Which means your ass shouldn't be in a damn relationship.
But is that realistic?
I mean, I just think
Is that realistic that a person that recognizes that, but they still choose to end up trying to engage in sex with somebody because they don't necessarily want to be alone? And even when you were talking and you were speaking about what happens in terms of a dynamic where a person, just because they don't want to be with you, the response should be to go to the streets. I don't think that. Sometimes you just need to just sit still. You need right, but we're living in a culture to where that takes account. Agreed. And so I'm saying we
still be out here dating.
You said what?
Sitting still is sitting still.
No sex, no nothing.
Sitting still.
Sitting still. It's just.
Remember that conversation we had about that? And I was like, how can you sit still and then like if I'm the person that likes to have sex, can I still engage in sex with somebody that still be working on myself? I think you can.
Situationship.
You. It's that. But that's why I said early on when it says. But that's why I said early on when you're dating, it requires 2 mature, respectful, responsible individuals to carry that out. And a lot of us are not mature, not respectful, not responsible individuals to carry something like that out. So in that case, it's best for you to stay to yourself. But if you happen to deal with someone in an organic and natural way, and they're telling you about their process, their life, and what they are, and you tell them about your process, your life, and what you want, and you find yourself on the same page about what each other wants in this given space at that juncture, then you go ahead and run the play. Whether it be sex, whether it be you start a date, whether it be y'all jump right into courtship. Because you have people who say, you know what, I've been the dating and sexting thing. I like you, like me. I feel like we got some things here. I would like to exclusively get to know you. You never know. Everybody's different. But we all have awareness. We all have social awareness. And it's up to us.
What you said?
No, but.
We all have social awareness. It's up to us to sit back and hold ourselves accountable to say, hey, if I'm in a delicate position myself emotionally, me getting physically intimate with somebody else may compromise that. If I'm in a compromised position physically, me getting physically intimate or emotionally intimate with somebody else may compromise that. I have to exercise discernment, and I also have to exercise self-respect to not put myself in that kind of position. And then you also have to be honest and open and outward in that when you're talking to that other person. And if you're getting signs from that other person that they're not up to par, they're not mature, they're not respectful, they're not responsible, then it's up to us to take a step back and leave them where they are. But we get so caught up in the attraction, we get so caught up in all this other shit, substances and clout and all these other things surrounding this person of interest, that we may force our own hand and compromise ourselves for a short-term gain. And I think, like Porter said, is that realistic? I think it's attainable. I think our reality says that it's harder to attain because it's not clear, which is why we have this conversation to make it so. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think that one of the guiding principles for me is value-added reciprocity. That is how I evaluate my relationships. I'm be honest. Women say a lot of things. I care less about what they say. I focus more on what they do. I am evaluating her actions. So, for example, when I've had certain experiences with women, you know, they will show value to me by paying attention to the things that are of interest to me. They know for a fact that I'm a worker. So instead of complaining about, oh, you work too much or you working too long or it's at inconvenient times where I prefer to do these things, they'll say, how can I help? Immediately. Right. And so by this particular woman being ready to commit herself to my craft, to my expertise, immediately I'm looking at, okay, the fact that you did this is going to trigger this next response where I'm looking to see how I can make sure that I create and curate a better environment for you. So now I know that you like to go swimming. I know you like to go to the water. Maybe we need to go to rooftop LOA. Maybe we need to go to the Epicurean. Maybe we need to go to some type of sauna. Like we have to. So now it turns into a value added reciprocity. I don't think that there's enough metrics that people are implementing to really see. Okay, they're just looking at this person saying, okay, you look good. Okay, you look good, you smell good. There's no depth to whatever it is. And for me, what I'm looking at is whether or not this woman is contributing to the process of my success. So if you're actively contributing to the process of my success, and I see that you're trying, it doesn't necessarily have to be effective because that's my job to help guide that. But the fact that you putting forth the effort, well, listen. You like steak? You like the crab? So I'm learning. It pushes me, and then even just outside of that, I think it becomes very important, like you said, to where for me, I don't know if there's necessarily a best time to have sex. I'm whether it's date number 3, date number 5, I'm in the experience because I've been in some situations where I'm talking. I kid you not. Story time. I was flying in. We have a process called OCI, on-campus interviews. I was interviewing for different law firms in Atlanta. I flew in, and I remember when I was boarding, saw this young lady on the plane, right? And I have a rule of 3, okay? First time I see you, spur of the moment, coincidence. Second time I see you, it's interesting. Third time I see you, that's a pattern, that's a sign. Go. All right. So this is my thought process. This is what happened that night. This is my way of approaching things. So what ends up happening, I see her that first time, we slick, make eye contact, didn't think nothing of it. I get off. Before I'm getting off, for whatever reason, even though she's up front, she has to come by me, right? She's going to the back. I don't know what's going on. I just know that I saw her. She saw me again. That second time. I get off the plane. She's already off. I'm looking for her. I'm thinking that she's gone. So what I do, I see there's a cupcake stand, right? Pete. I see it's a cupcake stand. I go, I know my mother loves cupcakes. And I said, she might too. So I go to the cupcake stand. I get a red velvet and I get a chocolate cupcake. These are my 2 cupcakes of choice. While I'm grabbing the cupcakes, I turn around and guess what? I see her for the 3rd time. So when I see her, I said, that's the sign. So I go and I say, excuse me. I think you forgot something. I got you. Red velvet, that's my favorite cupcake. Da, 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 da. I said, really? I said, man, yeah, no, I figured. And then and the conversation steered from there. The same night, we met up. So that was the red velvet cupcake. Exchanged the number. I'm gonna tell you, I don't get the IG. Ordinarily, I'm not, I want to get to know the person. And I know for me personally, when you go to my Instagram, that's not all of me. That's not the depth of me. You're going to have a very skewed, myopic lens on who Elijah Porter is. And so for me personally, when I initially start, the only thing that I get is the number. Because I want that level of communication in terms of, okay, damn, I'm picking up the phone call. I'm checking his messages. It requires a little bit more intentionality. I think sometimes with the social media, you can be a little bit more apathetic or a little bit lazy in the approach, like it's just whatever. So with that, I call her, right? She leaves. I'm supposed to be there for OCI. I handle business, whatever. The same night, man, I kid you not. I go pick her up. I pick her up from her father's house. We go down Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar. It's a whole vibe. Let me tell you. We didn't communicate, oh, well, as a man, you're supposed to be doing this. As a woman, you're supposed to be doing this. We just organically vibing, right? We get the Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar. We sit back. We drinking. They bring the check out. All right. Now listen, let me tell you how player this was now. They bring the check out. She look at me. I got you. She paid. No questions. None said. All right, so boom. So fast forward. So we at Harold's Chicken and Ice Bar. It's a nice vibe. We got the wings, we got the fries, we got the drinks. The check comes out. So I'm already reaching. She stops me. You good. You already got me some. pays.
I'm in love at that point.
At this point, I'm like, yo, she listen, man. I mean, the energy and the vibe was just there, right? And this is just on day one. So that's why even when we're talking about the concept of dating, as the night went on, the night didn't stop there. We went from the Harris Chicken and Ice Bar. Now we out there. We at Edgewood. We walking the strip. We vibing, listening to the music. We go back to the crib. When we get back to the crib, shower, and we still vibing. It's not forced. It's not but it wasn't like, hey, you know, we about to get ready to have and engage in. It was just like, yo, this is just cool, man. I'm like, yo, you cool as hell. You know, telling me about her ventures and her ideas and her goals. And then in terms of the intimacy, what ends up transpiring is that we're literally interacting with each other. And so we feeding off each other. So now the lights are off, everything is dim. I'm feeling her, she's feeling me. And then when we engage and we got to that next level, there was a look, what you thinking about? I liked it. And then we proceeded and we stayed dating for a period of time after that. And it wasn't, I never fathomed, okay, this is some type of whore, she's moving fast or I'm moving fast. It was just, it's
self-respect
and it happened. And so well, even for anybody that's listening and you're thinking about like dating, don't always think about it being so formulaic in the terms of number. By the time we date three is when we go into the steakhouse. And a lot of times, man, depending on the energy that you have with that woman or whoever that person may be, man, you're gonna know. You're gonna just feel. You don't even care. You don't even care where you at.
You know when it's another date, and you know when this is the last.
Yeah. Yeah.
Period.
So that's I wanted to make sure that I contextualize that because I don't want anybody listening to think that it's formulaic and it's numbers and it's really about it. The main thing is as long as the man sets the rules of engagement, as long as you set the rules of engagement. Hey, when I came at her, I told you 3 times. So by the third time I saw her, I'm not letting up. Yeah, nah, I'm seeing you tonight. Well, I came here I'm seeing you tonight. Actually, I already booked such and such. So I will say that us as men, as long as we approaching the women and we got it already laid out, even if it's not necessarily laid out, it's all. But we know our city. We know what's going on. So I think that becomes important. And like Lo said, the main reason why she was willing to do what she did is because she saw that I gave first. And even though it was a small gesture, it was just the consideration because I was like, dang, I don't know which one she gonna like. But I just went out on faith. Yeah, it was about 10.
Arcade?
Arcade, yeah. Yeah, man. Yeah.
But that's the key though. I think you exercised a level of social awareness. Yeah.
A sense of responsibility and
respect of yourself and space. And I think, but like you said earlier, we get so caught up in, damn, I gotta hit something. I gotta slay.
You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
We get so caught up in. Sometimes ego get the best of us. It helps to a certain extent, and sometimes we don't know when to put it away, and it leads us to make a lot of choices that could compromise us in the future if you don't have that understanding and that established situation with that person initially.
Yeah,
but it varies, man. Like you said,
it's
not everybody's the same. Dead, please. I think that's honestly that's the issue. Really, we try to
force it sometimes too.
We try to bunch everybody up into one.
I agree. I agree.
We are so quick to generalize.
Yep.
And not individualize and be able to, really give each person we're engaging with their time.
Mm-hmm.
Their respect, their space, their mind, their story.
I like some emotional.
I like that.
Exactly.
But
I wanted to go right there. No,
man, we gotta go.
Yeah,
Emotional intelligence, man.
I had one more. No.
Go ahead. What's your last point?
Because once we looked at each other, I was like, nigga, say it.
No, because so many people lack emotional intelligence.
Yes, emotional intelligence, but also what's the name of that standardized test that we took
CRCT.
before we?
SAT?
You talking about from the 5th grade?
Let me regurgitate my thought.
Okay.
What is the name of the standardized test that we took before the season at Marvin's house? It's a test. It's like a personality test, right?
Okay, yeah, SWOT.
So like, I think a big issue too is that like, so like, you ever work for a boss, right? That's like, you have good bosses, right? Where you have a good manager, a good boss, where it's like, you know what? That's what I'm saying.
I thought we were going.
That's CRCT. You must have some. Why is it on your mouth so crazy?
Scantron.
Hey, that's traumatizing shit right there. CRCT, like, bro, chill. I know. What I'm saying is that you ever had a boss that you work for? You're like, oh, this is a great boss because he can talk to me this way to reach me. He can talk to Marlo this way to reach him because he knows our personality, right? I feel like a lot of time it's a disconnect when it comes to dating. Is that either one, us as men, sometimes we do this a lot, where we try to force our own, our own personality onto a woman. If that makes sense, like not necessarily like when I say forced personality, where it's just like it's either my way or the highway, whatever. Like you gotta conform to me instead of me trying to conform to you in order to reach you how I need to reach you for the communication to be great. Does that make sense?
Is that wrong, bro?
Huh? Is that wrong? Because at the end of the day, well, communication, like, so I think the issue with communication sometimes that people say communication is key, but I don't agree with that. I think that what's key is if you're able to receive the communication that I'm trying to give to you. But if I'm only trying to like for example, right? I'm a victim of it. I mean, not a victim. I do this shit a lot, right? I'll say something and then I'll be like, oh, I already said it. I don't want to talk about it, whatever, right? Because I said it, I communicated with you how I communicated with you. And instead of listening to what you're saying or whatever, I'm forcing myself on you because it's like, it's either my way or whatever. If you don't fuck with what I'm doing, you gotta leave, right? But if I'm intentionally dating, right? If I'm trying to do this with the, we said be responsible, right? Be responsible in my dating aspect of what I got going on, then I'm gonna try to, not conform, but I'm gonna make it to where I can reach you into what I'm trying to communicate with.
I feel like you gotta conform
With the communication, you're a poor communicator than overall.
Not necessarily.
A good communicator knows their audience.
Agreed. But you conform to the audience. That's still a sense of conformability.
But in the sense of when you say conform, that means they express they express opposition to how you said it or what you said to them, and which you conform for the future to now.
Well,
rule or lead this person.
I mean, it's compromise. Like for me, right? I speak loud. Right? I come from a military background. I talk loud. Some women, they hate that shit. They're like, yo, like when you speak to me, like I feel like you're talking down on me, but I might just be having a regular conversation because this is how I talk. But I have to know that, you know what? I know that I speak loud. And I know that that's not for everybody, right? Just like with personalities, like I know how to go to Marlo, right? About a certain topic, just like I know how to go to Jalen about a certain topic. Different personalities, I have to conform in order to reach you because that's your personality.
I mean, I think some of that is number one, reading the room. Number two, knowing your environment. Because when you know your environment, you know what works, what's effective, what's impactful.
social awareness.
Yeah, definitely going into that social awareness. I mean, I don't think you meant conform. Yeah. Yeah, we get. Yeah, part two.
Part two.
Emotional intelligence. Part two.
Yeah, we gotta end on emotional intelligence.
Break it down. Emotional intelligence be part two, man.
Yeah,
that's a whole nother episode. But gentlemen, we definitely on. Hey,
shout out to the CRCT.
We gonna crack the code on the dating relationship space because everyone will. If those who look to get married and wants longevity with their mate, everyone wants longevity with their mate, but a healthy way which to establish a healthy longevity with their supposed mate is a whole different thing. And a lot of us have some bad habits. And a lot of us have bad perspective as well, like harmful perspectives, how to address. Yeah, and there's a number of things that play a role in that, but I think going forward, we need to really deconstruct emotional intelligence and how it is very key to have that kind of healthy relationships and be in healthy situations with anybody, period.
All relationships. Friendships, work relationships, all of it.
Period. And we got to update y'all on the 3 C's.
Oh,
Now it's CC.
and the flags.
Oh, and the flags.
That's part 2.
Yeah,
Part two.
definitely part two.
And the, I know we want to give them.
Hey, we got
We can't do that.
Too much game? Yeah, that's too much game. Gotta sell that for $9.95. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's Patreon right there.
It's on Patreon. Yeah, you got to subscribe.
You gotta subscribe. You gotta subscribe. Speaking of subscribe, make sure y'all click the subscribe button right now.
Absolutely.
Well, brothers,